Track your progress on your business plan with your coach, with your teammates, with your friend, with your spouse. If you don't know your numbers, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. I don't care what your goal is, right? We're gonna set one big goal that we're gonna commit to. And then we're gonna figure out what the priorities are. What are the 3 key areas that we have to do, the priorities, to drive that goal? Anything that you track and measure improves. And report improves exponentially. Mental rehearsal. Top athletes do it. You should do it. Visualize the win. Imagine meetings, calls, closings going perfectly. When you're on your way to a listing appointment and you're thinking, I'm not going to get this $4 million appointment, guess what? You're not going to get it. But if you're thinking, I own this, I've got this, I'm a master of this, I would want to work with me, so you're going to get it. This will surprise you guys. I had a brand new client. Never sold a single house, never represented a single buyer in his life. His very first listing appointment was a $30 million listing appointment. Scott Robeson is his name. He's in San Diego, California. You can look up. He goes by the Gay Realtor on YouTube. And he is, right? Now, if that wasn't intimidating enough, he was going up against 2 other people. One of the other people was coached by Bill Pipes, and the other one was coached by Tom Ferry. So he's going against 2 people. There's 3 of them. Bill Pipes coached, Tom Ferry coached, and the Bill Pipes and Tom Ferry coach are both people that are doing $200 or $300 million a year. And here's my little gay realtor who's never sold a house before. Do you think we had to do some visualization with that guy? Yes, we did. But here's what we did. We're like, okay, what is outside the box? What are they going to pitch? What are they going to do? This house had been listed multiple times, hadn't sold. It was owned by the Scripps family. So we were like, okay, this is what they're gonna do. This is what Amber's gonna do. This is what the Berries are gonna do. And here's everything that's gonna happen. What are we gonna do? So we put together a plan. That's what we did. We visualized exactly what he was gonna do. We script practiced him. We role played it over and over and over again. Did we role play it until he got it right? No, we role played it until he couldn't get it wrong. To so much so that he was angry with me. I've got this. You're not even close. We're gonna do this over and over again. We went in with a plan that shocked them, and guess who won the listing? He did. His very first listing. Now, that should have been the win, right? But it wasn't. You know what the win was? Me picking up the phone and calling Tom and Bill and telling them my little kid kicked their ass. That was the win. Right? Like I was like, in your face. Because I think I was probably in my 2nd year of coaching too. And here's something powerful. Once again, Bill Pipes worked for me. He's one of the best skills guys you'll ever meet in your life. There is no question. He destroys anybody I know when it comes to skills, when it comes to NLP, when it comes to talking on stage about skills especially. But I trained him, right? So when my wife and I went to that event in San Francisco, right there by SFO, we come walking out of that event and I asked my wife, well, what do you think? I'm a brand new coach. I just finished coach training, like what Chris is doing now, right? And my wife says, you don't want to know. I'm like, what do you mean I don't want to know? She says, Bill's become the master and you've become the student. What do you think that did to me? Oh boy, was I on fire after that, bro. I'm like, it's on like Donkey Kong now, right? A year later, I'm like, I will crush him. I did 1,000 hours worth of training that year to crush him. Like, how dare you say that to me? That's you guys living and rehearsing and becoming. That's how you become the best agent that you can possibly be. You guys have to understand it. Who here does a vision board? Does anybody here do vision boards? Just so you guys know, on December 12th, Friday, December 12th, we're doing a group call, a vision boarding group call. I do it in Canva with all of you guys. I share my vision board. It'll be a very interesting vision board because it's the first year in almost 20 years where my vision board is going to be about me generating income instead of me generating work-life balance. If you saw last year's, it was Italy and dogs and things, not money. But I put my vision board up on my monitors. It's my backdrop, and I look at them every single day. Doing a vision board with images and your goals will give you a visual reminder of what you're trying to achieve every single day. So yeah, my vision board was this little farmhouse in Tuscany, which is, I want to go to Italy and buy a little farmhouse. That's our goal. Whether I'm able to buy it this year or not, but we're going to be there. That's why we're going for 45 days. I've put everything on the plan towards that. And I'll give you guys an example of how my brain works. There were some challenges with the Tom Ferry ecosystem. There has been some slowing, and the coaches had to take a pretty big hit this year. And when it happened, we lost a lot of coaches. And all of my clients are my friends, and they know what happened. So most of my clients were like, well, are you still going to Italy? You just lost like 20% of your income. And I go, not only am I going to Italy, but I canceled all my reservations and I made the best hotel reservations I could possibly find. Instead of Airbnbs, I'm staying at 5-star hotels. Instead of this, I'm doing this. And they're like, have you lost your mind? I'm like, yes, I've lost my mind. But I'm gonna go so far in debt for this 45 days that I'm gonna have to work so hard next year to recover that it's crazy. I go, no, I'm not gonna let this challenge stop me from doing this thing that I've been dreaming about all year. The good guys in my company made $50,000 a month. The reasonable kids were making $30,000. It was a different time in the 90s and 2000s for refinances and stuff like that. And they would come to me and they're like, hey brother, I'm thinking about buying this Lamborghini. What do you think? And I'm like, that's the best idea I've heard all day. And they're like, I thought you would hate it. I'm like, are there Lamborghinis in the parking lot? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, I love this idea. And they're like, why? I'm like, because you're gonna have to work twice as hard to pay for that Lamborghini. And they're like, you sure? I'm like, yes. You want me to go with you? I know the dealer. Like, I'm in. Now, because I believe that if like you have to make these payments. Now I felt bad because in 2008 when we lost everything, guess what was happening to everybody's Lamborghinis? Tow trucks. And to be honest with you guys, this will give you some insight to me. When I tell you I was suicidal, do you think it was because I lost all the money? It was all the people. Like I'm that guy, and Chris knows this, that if he calls me in the middle of the night, I'm coming. So we had probably $6 million. We spent all $6 million trying to save the company, and then we sold the company to raise capital and still had to close it down and repossess it. And we kept it open and kept everybody employed through the end of 2008 for 2 years, right? Now, but here's hindsight. This will be good for all of you guys. What should have happened is I should have laid everybody off on day one, because I would have had a nice secure nest egg, and when the market turned in 2009, I could have hired them all back and the company would still be alive today. They would have all had a home still. Here's the beautiful part though, and I think it's very similar here. This is what I love about your guys' team. When we are in Orange County, because we live in Park City now, everybody comes out of the woodwork to have dinner with us, and everybody says this, when are we doing it again? When are you gonna start again? Can we do this again? Because it was a family. Look at you guys. I want you guys to imagine where you're going and how you're gonna get there. Okay, GPS model. This is my favorite model. This is gonna sound crazy, but I hadn't read this in probably 10 years, and I reread this for a group call that I did last week for the first time in 10 years. That Unlimited Power with Tony Robbins. I probably didn't do state changes for 10 years, and then I read this book, I'm like, oh, I gotta do that. Like, I knew that, but I forgot it. GPS, this is probably the best model that I've ever taught for business planning. It's a little bit different than what you're gonna do in the business plan, but I want you guys to follow with me really quick. I want you to set one big, clear goal for the year. So this sounds counterproductive. You're gonna have more than one goal, but we're gonna have one big, clear goal. Maybe it's $1 million in GCI. Maybe it's 25 units closed. Maybe it's, I'm gonna lose 60 pounds. Maybe it's, I'm gonna spend every night with my wife cooking dinner, or every night with my family. I don't care what your goal is, right? We're gonna set one big goal that we're gonna commit to. And then we're gonna figure out what the priorities are. What are the 3 key areas that we have to do, the priorities, to drive that goal? If it's 25 units, what are the priorities that have to drive that goal? Believe it or not, you guys probably will think always, because you're so used to being coached, that the priorities are gonna be, I have to make this many conversations. Guess what? It might just be that I have to become better at time management. It might just be I have to get way better at skills. I can have the amount of conversations I'm having, but if I'm closing twice as much stuff, I'm gonna get there. It might just be better, I need a better evening routine, or I need to get 8 hours of sleep. If I get 8 hours of sleep every night, I'm gonna come into the office alive, excited, and full of energy. You figure out what your priorities are to get to that goal. Could losing 50 pounds get you to 50 transactions? Yes. Like there's all of these things that you guys have to think about. And then you have to put the strategies in place, the 5 tactics under each priority. Like what has to happen? I have to get better at time management. Okay, I'm gonna read a book on time management. I'm gonna read a book on how I time block. I'm gonna read a book on getting better with my habits, and I can give you guys the 3 best books for that because I reread all of them to rewrite the book I'm writing right now. And then I'm gonna be held accountable, and then I'm gonna put these processes in place to make it happen. Right, so there's 5 little tactics that for each of those key areas that you can put. Sometimes there's 10 tactics, sometimes there's 2 or 3. But it's not just about making your calls or not just about making your content, right? Like I wanna get you guys, last year I started a new YouTube channel. Once again, I think crazily. I'm like, I wanna get this YouTube channel to 100,000 subscribers in 1 year. Right? I'm at 130,000 now. The minute I broke 100,000 on that channel, I switched over to my coaching channel. I'm like, I'm gonna take this one to 100,000 in the next 6 months. I'm at 54,000 in 3 months. But do you know how many little things I'm doing to get there? You know how many little tactics? You know how many, there's 3 key areas on videos and editing and skills and scripts and getting better on video. And I don't have, my studio's pretty freaking awesome, but it's not like this. There are a lot of things that had to happen for me to hit those goals. You guys, we'll take it to that level. You already heard I want to climb Everest or do an Ironman next year. I also want to write a New York Times bestseller next year. Okay, one of my long-term goals is to win a Pulitzer Prize in photography, and I will do it. There's no ifs, there's no ands, there's no buts. Not only am I gonna do it, I'm already a Pulitzer Prize winner. That's it, period. Now, I'm gonna have to retire and travel the world taking pictures to do it. So it's not happening this year, next year, or probably the next 5 years, but it's on the marker. It's gonna happen, right? The minute that I'm living full-time in Italy and I can retire and not have to do this, I'll find a way to do it. That's just who I am, or I will die trying. I want you guys to figure out what that one big clear goal is for next year. Set 3 key areas that'll drive that goal and put some strategies below those areas to drive those areas. It's really simple. I'm gonna go back to the accountability thing. Once again, if you set accountability, you get there. I'm gonna give you guys another great example. I normally do not have a shaved head. I have not shaved my head in a long time. The only time I shave my head is when I screw up an accountability. At Summit, there was a coach that we went to a steak dinner. She told the people at Nick and Sam's it was my birthday. They bought a giant cake. They brought a big thing of cotton candy. They brought ice cream. They had dry ice. They sang me happy birthday. It was not my birthday. I told her not to do it. They put a piece of cake in front of me and I thought I can have 1 bite. That's not a big deal because that's not breaking my diet to me. So I have 1 bite and then everybody, there's all a bunch of coaches at the table. They're like, come on, bro, you can have a piece of cake. I'm like, you're right, I can have a piece of cake. So I ate the piece of cake. Now I was angry at the coach for doing what I asked her not to do. And I took it out on her and she didn't understand and I coach her also. So I coach about 8 Tom Ferry coaches. And she got upset and she was crying and I'm like, I told you not to effing do this. And she didn't understand why. I shaved my head. And then I'm on a call with her and she's like, whoa. She says, what happened? This is because you bought that fucking cake. And she's like, what? I'm like, I've been dieting. I've been doing all this stuff and you did this. And then I hit me, I'm like, you know what? It's not your fault. It's my fault. I'm sorry. Like, I'm never having dinner with you again, but it's not your fault. Look, I set accountability on myself. Guess who knew about that accountability? Nobody, not even her. I made a commitment to myself that if this happens, I do this. And it doesn't matter that nobody else knew. I don't need that. The reason I have 5 clients that I have to send a picture or video of me working out every day to for $100 a day is because I need the accountability. Because I've already screwed it up once too. The workout's a lot harder to hold myself accountable than not eating cake, obviously. Right? I shouldn't have ate the cake. I shouldn't have had half that muffin today either. But it was so good. Okay. Pick one measurable and ambitious target for 2026, you guys. Right? Example, X homes sold, X GCI commission. Write it down, commit to 100%. This is the G, right? Identify your 3 priorities. Choose the 3 focus areas: lead generation, conversion rate, client experience, right? Those are your big rocks. Everything else is sand. Outline the strategies for each priority. These are the strategies that have to go. These are the leverage. Is the leverage a strategy? Is accountability a strategy? All of these things are strategies, right? And then ensure each strategy is specific and time-bound. Who here has heard of the expression SMART goals? Specific, measurable, actionable, results-oriented, and time-based. Okay? If you don't have a time on your goal, it's not a goal, it's a prayer. I want to get to 180 pounds someday. That's, when I'm dead, I'll be 180 pounds, I can assure you, at some point. That's not a goal, right? So you got to have a time bound to this. If you don't have a time to your goals, what happens? Yeah, because there's no urgency. Well, it's okay, I can have tacos today because I can start dieting tomorrow. There's no time in this. And I love tacos, right? I live in Mexico half the year, okay? One-page plan. So we're gonna make a big detailed plan today, you guys, on your plans. We're gonna work on it all afternoon, I'm guessing, okay? But when you're done with it, I want you to break it down to one page. Because guess what happens? Once again, we've all talked about this, you do your plan and then you never look at it again. But if you do a one-pager of the basis of it, and you tape it next to your bed, and when you open your eyes, it's the first thing, or you tape it on the mirror in your bathroom and you're brushing your teeth staring at it, now you're reinforcing something in your brain on what you're gonna get. That one-pager will keep you and help keep you motivated. That's the power. Keep it visible and review it often. You guys, at our peak, I would do this, and my wife will tell you, we lived in a very nice house on the water, a multi-million-dollar house, and my wife said, you can't tape that shit all over our walls. I'm like, yes, I can. Last I checked, I make the payment on this sucker, right? But look, it doesn't matter where you put it. It doesn't matter, it should be on your screensaver. It should be on your desk. It should be in your car. It should be someplace where you're seeing it every day, and it's constantly reinforcing the actions that you need to take. All right, math, numbers don't lie. Know your inside and out. Turn your goals into concrete metrics, targets, right? Track your progress. Who here is currently tracking their numbers? Raise your hand. Okay, so there's 3 or 4 of you guys. Now, let me give it to you. I could tell you how many dials, how many conversations, how many loan applications, how many closings that I had ever since the very first day of my career, and I can give it to you today. So what I did in that, you guys, and let me give you some science behind this. When I started selling real estate, my coach, as I mentioned, was Mike Ferry, my boss's father. And so I was making my calls every single day. When I first started selling real estate, it was 200 conversations to appointment. And now I'm gonna make it even more difficult. I went on 25 listing appointments, my very first 25 listing appointments, and I did not get a single listing. So for 6 months, I made calls and didn't get any business. Okay, my dad owned the office there, just so you guys know, and I think I was getting 40% or something like that. My dad was a farmer. He would mail his farm and sit open houses every week. He was super, super successful, but he'd been doing it for 40 years, right? So you build up a database and a farm and you get it. My dad comes to me one day and he said, he's never gonna make calls. He says, hey, Junior, you know, I could go on these listing appointments with you. And I'm like, yeah? He says, yeah, and we'll split it 50-50. Whoa, you're gonna give me a 10% raise and you're gonna close the listing? He's like, yeah. I'm like, done. So fast forward 6 months later, now I'm 30 conversations to an appointment. And I'm setting 2 appointments every single day. And my dad's closing every one of them. And I'm going with him and I'm learning. And I'm getting better, right? But now, flash forward another 6 months. Now I'm 20 conversations to an appointment, right? And now I'm probably better at listing appointments than him because I'm practicing. I'm practicing my scripts. I'm an NLP master practitioner now. I'm getting really good. So I go into my dad, I'm like, hey, I'm setting all these appointments. I'm closing all these appointments and I'm only getting 50%. What's going on? He's like, yeah, that was our deal. I'm like, yeah, but you're not setting any appointments. You're not getting any of this stuff. I need to get paid more. So no, that's all you get. I go, okay, I'm out, bye. So I left. He's like, come back, let's work together again. I don't care if you get 70, I'll keep the 30. He realized that this is gonna happen, right? But here's the best part. At the end of my career, I was still at about 20 conversations to an appointment, still calling expires every single day. This is where tracking your numbers and the math becomes important for all of you guys. I could go 200 conversations and not set an appointment, and it affected me 0. Why? Look, I knew what my numbers were because I've been tracking them for 10 years. So every week I had a little board, I tracked them, I put it in my spreadsheet. So I had a running total for 10 years. I knew I was 20 conversations to appointment. Didn't matter that I'd gone 200 conversations. I knew my next 10 were gonna be 10 appointments. I knew my numbers. There was nothing that could happen that would affect my mindset. So much so that in this office now, it's at a private office, right? It's my dad's there and everybody's there. So people can hear you, right? And I'm in this office calling. And it's very typical, you guys, for somebody when you're calling expired for them to tell you where you could effing go on the phone. So I'm sitting in the office and I'm like, and fuck you too, right? And I could hear everybody in the office laughing. And I come out and they're like, that doesn't bother you? I'm like, no, that's like the best thing that can possibly happen to me. Why? I go, because they didn't waste my time. What bothers me is talking to somebody for 10 minutes about their expired listing and them not letting me set an appointment. That bothers me. That affected my brain. This doesn't affect my brain at all. Now, once again, the reason it didn't affect my brain is because I knew my numbers. The numbers don't lie. So when you're tracking your numbers, here's what happens. There's a famous statistician, mathematician. His name is Carl Pearson. He was a co-worker of Albert Einstein. So use your imagination on how intelligent this guy probably is to be a co-worker of Albert Einstein. And Pearson's law is this. Anything that you track and measure improves. So everything you track and measure improves, period, no matter what. And there's a ton of MC squared equals type stuff that prove this theory from Pearson's law. But here's where Pearson's law becomes even more powerful. Anything you track and measure improves, and anything you track, measure, and report improves exponentially. And I have one goal, just so you guys know. I just have to have the best numbers. That's what happens when I get off the treadmill. What, do I send you pictures of what I did? I'm like, I burned 600 calories and I got a 450 score and I'm kicking your ass today, honey. Like, I dare you to beat me. I just want the best numbers that day. And that's how I was in real estate too. I just wanted to have the best numbers. As long as I'm at the top of the board and I have the best numbers, I'm happy. I'm beating everybody. But your mindset is so powerful and can stop you so fast. So we need to learn the math and you need to learn to track your numbers so that you don't fall into this trap. If you don't know your numbers, you don't have a business, you have a hobby, right? Define your income. Set your target GCI. Once again, we've set a big goal. Maybe it's units, maybe it's something else, but we need to know what the GCI is, right? Determine the average commission per deal. Calculate how many deals it is to hit that goal, right? Calculate the number of deals. Numbers don't lie. Know your numbers inside and out. Turn those goals into concrete metrics. So let's do it really quick. Track your progress on your business plan with your coach, with your teammates, with your friend, with your spouse. We used to go to this little bar every Friday called Chimayo's. And Ultimate Fighters, T. Ortiz, Ken Shamrock, all these guys would go to this little bar and this is a Huntington Beach thing. And there's a young man that worked for me who fought Royce Gracie in UFC 2. His name was Kimo Leopoldo. And we really enjoyed this little bar on Friday afternoons, and we're super successful, but I'm selling real estate at the time, and I would tell my wife, hey, look, I've got to do this week, or else I don't get to go to the bar. Now my wife, all of her friends were there, and she wants to go to the bar, and my wife is amazing, but she can't go to the bar by herself because she gets a little loopy and gets a little out of control. So she'd be calling me at the office and be like, have you hit your numbers? I'm like, no. She's like, don't come home, because we're going to the bar tomorrow. That's support structure. How many people here has a spouse that says, are you ever coming home? My wife is like, don't come home. Sleep at the office. Hey, if I hit these numbers, we're going to Italy. You think she would let me come home? No. She's like, we're going to Italy.